Hey, I'm Dr. Susanna Bozzoni. I'd love to talk to you today about mood food. Yes, food that can help you support your mood. And when it's all said and done, my biggest message is really look at the whole picture. And when we're talking about mood food, we're never talking about just one thing. It's got to be a balanced nutrition plan. There's not going to be one super pill, one super supplement, or one super food ever in anything that we struggle with chronically. When we look at a nutshell, we want to make sure that we're not being too extreme in our diet plan either, knowing that a lot of our mental health concerns, depression, anxiety, trauma, among other things, can be linked with eating disorders. So we don't want to trigger that. So be conscious and compassionate about that, but let's support your plate to support your mood. And again, it's never just one thing. It's never just one mechanism. I'm going to highlight a few mechanisms just because it's really fascinating, right? And of course, I always talk about the microbiome, and a lot of people do, because the microbiome, those trillions of organisms that line your intestinal tract, that create the environment where your genes find yourself, where we can switch on disease or turn it off. So important that they produce over 90% of your serotonin, that happy neurotransmitter that all of us want, and that certainly is what we're trying to keep active when we give you serotonin reuptake inhibitors like Prozac or Paxil or Celexa or any of its friends. But most of that actually, when produced in the gut, is actually produced for gut motility. So the health of the gut is key, and particularly creating an environment in the gut, knowing that your microbiome can produce short chain fatty acids. And we see that when we produce more of these short chain fatty acids, when you have a healthy, diverse microbiome, that actually does cross into your brain and can help with the neuroinflammation, the inflammation that can spread through your intestinal tract, your blood flow, and cover into your brain as well, helping to heal those tight junctions of the brain and the leaky gut, if that applies. It's so important that we address inflammation when we're talking about mental health, because it's not just our head cut off from our body, but we are one, and the more holistic we can be is so important. So reducing inflammation from a number of mechanisms. Number one, through the gut, through eating diverse fiber sources. Number two, by eating these plants, and some other reasons why some of these whole fiber-rich plants can also drive an improvement in mood is, let's talk about something people like to talk about and sell you supplements for, quercetin. Right? So quercetin is kind of fascinating because it works in effect to increase serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine in the blood, but you can eat quercetin-rich foods the way your body understands it. Let's talk about some of those, and imagine a beautiful salad of kale and apples, berries, grapes, onions, and with a nice cup of green tea. So these are some of your highest quercetin sources, and it's really beautiful. It acts a lot like the old school mayo inhibitors that we don't prescribe anymore, but some of the earliest antidepressants. So just make those regular in your nutrition plan. Another thing that people talk about is tryptophan. And every time I've ever heard of it, it's been after your big old turkey at Thanksgiving. But interestingly, tryptophan is a precursor for serotonin, that happy neurotransmitter. What's also interesting is that when you eat it, yes, turkey is rich in it, but because it has so many of these other amino acids, that provides competition. So it's not actually as easily utilized to produce serotonin as when you get your tryptophan from plant-based sources. So that's why, just to recognize that, again, it's never just one thing. It's not just tryptophan. It's how it is utilized and how you are able to use that and package it into what we want, which is, yes, we do want more serotonin. So what are sources of tryptophan from plants? Dark leafy greens. Oh, my favorite. Oh my gosh. So that kale salad we talked about, throw some sunflower or pumpkin seeds that are raw in there, and that's a wonderful source. Soybeans, throw some edamame in there. Mushrooms, my favorite. Broccoli and peas. So you can imagine what kind of meal we are conjuring up right now that it's actually supporting your nutrition. Take a look at the kale salad I put on a while back that has quinoa and kale and edamame. It's got apples in it, I believe. And so anyway, you can see what this looks like, and it's got this beautiful orange miso rice vinegar dressing. Amazing. Other things to be aware of that can and have been shown to improve your mood: saffron and other herbs. So saffron is one you can certainly take that as a supplement, or you can use it in your food. I know it is expensive, but other anti-inflammatory herbs like ginger, turmeric, rosemary, lavender. Lavender's so soothing, right? Have some nice lavender chamomile tea. Beautiful ways to incorporate that into your day, and as well as omega-3 rich foods. And so that can be ground flax, those can be walnuts. Certainly you can have some carefully chosen wild fish if you want to, but you don't have to. You can get your omega-3s from algae base, that's where the fish get it. So just to look at a few of those components, there is no one superfood, but create a plate that makes you smile, that really cultivates joy, beauty, and awe, and hopefully you find joy in your journey. Have a wonderful, beautiful, and inspired day. Thanks.